Hello, welcome back to my garden. Today is turning out to be quite the hot day. The sun is out and I think the temperature is supposed to get up to about 83, 84. It's getting warm. But we've got things to do in the garden, here, today, now. But before we start planting, I want to show you something. Check out these foxgloves. Believe it or not, in here is an apple tree. I had to put this fence around it to keep the deer away, and you might be able to see the tree right there. Doesn't look all that much impressive, but I started from bare root, the deer nibbled it down, and started growing again. Then, a couple of years ago, I put compost around the base. Now I knew the compost wasn't hot enough to cook off all the seeds, but what seeds were in there, I didn't know. Apparently there were foxglove seeds and Verbena bonorosus, which hopefully you can see here. So, although it looks a bit messy, this is growing into quite the colorful display out here in the orchard. Now let's get to planting. Okay, so here we are at the entrance to the flower garden. Last year, my wife came up with the idea and I agreed with it, and I still like the idea. What we're doing is we're putting Verbena bonorosus at the sides of the entrance here instead of boxwood or something else like that. Now the verbena that I had in the ground from last year never died back. It did get damaged by frost and it did wilt a little, but it's apparently Verbena bonorosus is an incredibly hardy plant, and it withstood the freezes and the frosts that we have of the winter. Now again, I did cut them back probably to about within 6 inches of the ground because a lot of the top foliage was looking rough, but as soon as we started getting temperatures over 40, they started growing again. Last year I did have a couple of plants die on me. I think one plant got ripped out by something, I don't know, maybe a hose or something. I don't know how it happened, but I think I had a plant get ripped out. Nonetheless, we have gaps. And today, I'm going to be planting up some verbena to fill those gaps. Now, the verbena I'm planting up today is verbena that I grew from cuttings. So, late last year, I took a bunch of cuttings. I think 4 out of 8 survived. Maybe I only took 4 and all 4 survived. I can't remember exactly. If you remember, leave a comment below. Like I said, where you have some gaps here, I have basically 2 on this side, 1 on this side, and I'm going to add an extra one over on the dahlia bed side just to fill out the space a little bit more. And all these verbena are planted relatively close, and that's okay because, again, I wanted to sort of form a hedge. Again, beautiful, stunning flowers. If you guys grow Verbena bonorosus, let me know in the comments below. If you don't grow Verbena bonorosus, why not? So let's get to planting. All right, hopefully you guys can see this, but I have a verbena, obviously a verbena, and there's this gap. So it's got nice roots. I'll tease them a bit. Stick that there. Add more compost. I don't think we need the tag. All right, and cover back with mulch. And I will come back and water this at a later point today after I get done doing all the planting. But for now, this hedge, as it were, is complete. Oh, and hopefully by midsummer, it's just thick and full of purple flowers. Let's go do the other side. I don't know if it shows up in shot, but probably my biggest weed that I have in this garden that I'll never be rid of is false garlic, or crow's poison, or it's called a bunch of different things. Basically, it's a grass, and it puts out these lovely little white flowers in the springtime, but then they go to seed, and then it grows everywhere. The problem is that it's a bulb. The plant grows from a bulb, much like garlic, but plant has a very good defense mechanism, whereas the leaves and the stem of the flower break away from the bulb very easily, sometimes as high as ground level, and the bulb may be 2 to 3 inches down at least. And then it'll just generate new leaves and a new flower. This lasts until I think about June-ish maybe. Depends upon the heat. I think once it starts getting too hot and then it's done. I'm just going to keep working here as I'm talking. So it's a pain in the neck. It covers the whole thing. And if you try to dig the bulbs out, they're small. And they produce baby bulbs, which are even smaller. And the baby bulbs are held onto the mother bulb very, very loosely. So as soon as you basically touch it or try to pull it, they all break out. And again, as soon as you try to pull it out or touch it, basically they break away. And now you have to try to find all those bulblets, and it becomes a problem because you're never going to find all of them. You're never going to get all of them out of the ground. And then they come up and then they fill your bed full of lovely white grass-like flowers, which I haven't yet to find an answer to, but it is what it is. And as I said, they will go away over time. What I typically do, or I have been doing lately, is just going space by space, little at a time, ripping out the flowers as much as I can, because if they go to seed, it'll just create more, and I don't want more. So if I can stop it from going to seed, that's one way of stopping the plant from reproducing. Okay, look at that tucked in there. Pull that back. All right. I have the 4 right here. So the 2 that I just planted plus these 2. I have a Sprinter boxwood over here. And I'm going to put another one right over here, and it's just going to help sort of fill out this corner. Let me get to planting that one. All right. All of these gaps, as it were, filled out. But I have 2 more verbena that I like to plant today. Let me show you those. All right, I know most of me is not in shot. I'm gonna put that foot there. I'm trying to walk through a landmine. Over here I have some echinacea. These are gladiolus allium. This right here is an unknown allium, but I'm gonna let it go. I believe here in front of me over here, it's probably very hard for you guys to tell, is Maltese cross. Pineapple lily, I'm sorry, this is a pineapple lily. There's penstemon, some daylilies. Sedums of some sort, I can't remember the name. Looks like a calla lily? One of those things. More pineapple here between my legs. Behind me here, I have summer drummer allium. That's this right here. And right here, to add some height, just gonna find a footing here. And right here, to add some height to this corner, along with the summer drummer, because the summer drummer, as you can see, gets pretty tall, I'm going to plant up 2 verbena. I'm going to pop one here. This corner of the flower garden was the first corner to be built, and the soil here is really nice. I've added quite a bit of compost over the years. Of course, I did this no dig like I've done many of my other beds, and it's had several years of hardwood bark mulch placed on top. That was just the mulch I'd chosen at the time. One of the things I discovered with it, since it's basically a shredded mulch, is it breaks down fairly quickly, which is good. It's bad in many other circumstances, but in the case of adding organic material to bad soil, it's great. Well, at least it's worked for me. And I'm going to put the other one basically next to it, right over here. Now these 2 verbena I grew from seed, so they're significantly smaller than the ones I did from cuttings, but they should do well all the same. So this corner is pretty much filled with plants. So that's what I think all the plants that we're going to be sticking in this corner for right now. Some of you may be aware, if you follow me over my YouTube community page, that I just released my latest book, Growing Your Green Fingers Victory Garden Guide. I had stumbled across the 1943 Victory Garden pamphlet a couple of winters ago, and I started reading it, and a lot of the things that they talk about in there are still very applicable today if you wanted to build your own victory garden or vegetable garden, as we'd call it today. But there are many other things in there that we wouldn't do today. So I sort of wrote this book around that guide, and I throw in my own 2 cents, and then I add some more in, because gardening isn't just about growing your own food. It's not just about growing your own vegetables or fruit. It's so much more, I feel. And a lot of the things that we know today, we didn't necessarily know or combine back then. For instance, flowers, growing companion flowers either in your vegetable garden or elsewhere in your garden adds to the attraction of pollinators, which adds, of course, then to your fruits or veg being better pollinated, as it were, or again, drawing those pollinators to your garden so they can turn around and pollinate your fruits and veg. I also added in a lot of resources at the end of the book to help maybe new gardeners or first-time gardeners who, like me, when I first started gardening, I was overwhelmed and I didn't know where to look and I didn't know what to do, and sort of stumble along and discover all of the resources that I now know today, but it took me a while to accumulate that. So I sort of put all that together into the back of the book, and hopefully this way, again, if you're new to gardening, then you can use those resources, whether it be YouTube or books or documentation someplace, and give you a really good jumping off point. So go over to Amazon. You can get it as a paper book or an ebook. Check it out. Growing Green Fingers, Victory Garden Guide. I think it's a fun book. I think it's a good book. But you guys, go ahead, buy one. Let me know what you think. And as you can see, there is still much more to be planted out. There's still stuff in the greenhouse. I've been pulling stuff out slowly a little at a time, trying to get it out here on the tables, trying to empty out the greenhouse, but there's so much more to go. And as you probably saw earlier in the video, I have yet to pull up the weed fabric for the in-ground beds, which I'm going to try to get done this weekend. It's going to be significantly cooler. I think the temperature is supposed to break sometime around Sunday. And so I'll be pulling that up. I'll bring you guys along for it, of course. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Click that bell icon to be notified of when I do post a new video. This way you don't miss me laying out. I'm basically going to keep the same layout for the beds, but I think I'm going to change a few things around because I'm going to plan on growing certain things I didn't grow last year. So again, hit that subscribe button, follow along. This way you don't miss an episode. I hope all of you guys are already planting and adding to your gardens or building new gardens or whatever it is you're doing. Let me know in the comments below if you're adding a new garden or designing something new, whatever. Be sure to check out all the links below, as the book is also available, the links below. So be sure to go check that out. Also, if you go over to growinggreenfinger.com, if you scroll, I think it's halfway down the homepage, I have a link to my Amazon authors page. Both Sophie and I are hot. So I think that's going to wrap it up for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you to all the new subscribers. And we're going to catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.